Get a little drink. So here we are on, we got to page Kaf Dalet, I think. And I have notes all over this, so we've seen this a couple of years ago. So let's go on page Kaf Dalet. It says, Yizboyer Kavanas HaBrachos Shal Hadlokas Ner Chanukah. So we'll read across the top, and then we'll get into it. It's a little more detail in the Tiv. So he said, V'hi Ner B'bracha B'Rishona. What's the bracha Rishona, which is Lahadlik Ner Chanukah? Nirmaz Shloshtam. There's a reference here to the three different kinds of combinations that could produce the word Ner. So he said, but that all is in the first bracha. Of a bracha Shnia, Shuchosh also Nisim Nirmaz Hashni Ashenis. Then you have the second one. So he says, first all three is Havaya Ekia, Havaya Elokem, Havaya Adni. All those three go with the first part. That's the first bracha. Second bracha, though, you're really dealing with the second one. Hashenis. Bebracha Ashlishi Shehechiyanu Nir Mezecha B'Tachtaina B'Kulam is a reference to the lowest one, which is Avaya Adni. V'Zecha B'Masha B'Tzanse B'Kuntris Acher. So this I found in another place. Here Avaya Rishona Sheim Ekia. So he says that if you take the two together, so you'd have the Yudin Da'av, that's how it would be. So the Havayas change in their Milui form. That goes with Adni. He Havaya the Ma. So these three Havayos Atzman themselves, Hem Shetakav B'Midas Lahadlik. This is when you have the kavana on the meal of the hadlik, shehuba gematria av sagma, which is asam shal lahadlik. So it comes out that asam, if you add it up, it comes to be the gematria of lahadlik. So right there in that one word is a reference to the whole process of bringing this in. Let's see how the Tiv words it. Min Akia should be so from the Akia Shebechiber Rabavaya the Av the Yudin Gam Hu Yihya B'Milu Yudin. So the top one will be the Milu of Yudin, and it contains I guess the idea is everything else is within it. He said that's Kasa. V'im Havaya Atzbo Shuhu Avs with Havaya Kasta together Yihya Shnechem B'Gematria Regel. Now we see this in other places. I've seen the Kri Shemal on the Mita. This comes in. And I really don't know what to do with it, but he says Yihya Shenecha Regel. So this is Menshakala, a Regel Menashuk. Not sure what Regel means though. That's a simple meaning of it. But here he says it's a combination of these things. Let's see how we'll read the tip. Yihya Shnechem B'Gematria Regel. The Ramaz ki gam Chanukah nikra regel. So this is let you know that Chanukah, just what we said before, is called a regel, bichlal muadim, and therefore it gets incorporated with the other muadim, which are the shlosh regalim. So it's a regel in some way like that. It's written over there, handwritten over there. Let's look at the Hakavanot starting on page Kaf Dalet. And this would be really goes to the next page. But I'll read number Mem Bet in the dark print. Let's see where we're at here. Okay, there we go. And V'hidech B'bracha B'Rishona Shehi Lahadik Ner Chanukah Nirmez Shloshta B'bracha B'Rishona B'Romaz Kol Shlosha Yehudim Ki Milas Ner, when we said Lahadlik, what Ner is going to be those three. Ola b'kamizbar kol shlosha yehudim kafi is boyer, as we've said before. So when you say the word Ner, but you're saying Lahadlik Ner. Okay, let's see what he wants to say about Lahadlik later on. So where was it? Bebracha Shnia, Shush also Nisim Nir Mezerah B'Yichud Shnia, the second one only. Shulchan Bavaya of Elokim V'Yiz Boy Elokamon. He's going to explain that. Then he says, "B'Birchos Hashlish" in the third bracha. He says, "Shuhu Ashehechiyanu." Excuse me. Nir Mezecha B'Yichud Atachtoinu Mekulam. So we have a reference here to the lower yichud of olam, Hainach of Havaya Adni, V'yizbar L'kamon, and we'll go into it. Adatan is bar L'kava B'tev is ner. So this is the idea here. Shebebracha Rishon Shlosha Yehudim. You have in mind there that there are 3 Yehudim taking place with this word ner. B'peshuto, that is in the simple meaning, the Hainach Miluyim. So just taking it like it is and putting them together. I don't know what he means by Miluyim. They're right. There's no Miluyim. There's just the pashtus. Maybe Marchu b'makom acher. So now he's bringing it free from another place, not directly from the Rav. Shemisham nira sheyesh lekavon shemos ela b'milui. Now let's see what he wants to say like this. He said v'hainu havaya rishona shel yichud harishon tihya b'milui yudin kazit, and he said it would be 72. So just don't think about it as just havaya Ekya, but think of it in terms of is the milui of Havaya, Hainach of Havaya the Av. Move the page over a little bit, and he says, one second, and he says, Sheim Elokim, it comes to Gematria Sag. So that's the Havaya of Sag, but the Havaya is going to be a Sag. Havaya v'na'asa she'enim miyachadim elokim sha'anu miyachadim elokim. He said the kaven v'havaya the sag gazeh. So you have this idea that's going to be what the Havaya is going to look like. Then he goes on and he says like this: Havaya shlishi sha'anu miyachadim im adni. Okay, I think we lost him there, so we'll know that's going to happen every day. Okay, let's see how we get back here. There. Okay, we got you back here. So he says, I think we were on number Mem Ches, but if not, we'll just do it anyway. The Kavein Havaya the Ma Kazeh, you'd have this Kavanah, and then he shows you what Ma looks like. Chutz b'mashin is boyer atar b'gavanas yichud ner, with the exception of what, so excluding that idea. Sheyesh the kaven shemus Havaya b'milui, so there you want to see the Havayas in the milui form. B'kach the yachtam im sharcham shemus, and also to join them together with other names. Mosif kan od kavana, so there's another idea that we want to get into here. The kaven b'shemus of Havaya levada, just the Havayas by themselves. Hainach of Havaya the Ab sheyachadachem im Akya, v'Havaya the Sag sheyachad im Elokim, Havaya the Ma sheyachadachem im Adni. So now what? Shemus Havaya now Sarak Lakavein Abamidas Lahadlik. So these names that we said before, you have to put them together with the concept of Lahadlik. Shatevis Lahadlik ima Kolol. Ola b'misbar asam, that is the 3 miluyim of Havaya, she'oida kuf pei, which comes to gematria of 180, which is a gematria of a half of a circle. Anyway, let's go on. He says she'ola kuf pei. Moving on, he says v'atach b'mosif shegam shem ekya she'im Havaya the Av. So now you take ekya and you put it together with the Havaya the Av the Yudin, Hainle b'yuchad the Rishon shall the Havaya the Ekya. That's what we're talking about. Deish the Kanva the Chavagam came b'milui. You look at it that way with a milui too. So you have the Peshutim with the Peshutim, and now you have the miluyim with the miluyim. The Hainle b'milui Yudin sha'oidach b'kasa kazeh. So you there me shows us kasa. Kikamosha Havaya hu b'milui Yudin, just like the Havaya is in a milui of Yudin. B'Yudin Gam came Osim as a Egya b'milu Yudin. Okay, no big deal. V'im Shem Havaya Atzma, then you add the name Havaya itself. Kanisker Shaha Yichud the Rishon Kukul Havaya v'Ekya, that the first Yichud is Havaya v'Ekya. Shaha b'milu Yudin Sha'ola Av. Yir Shenechem Hainach Havaya the Av v'Ekya the Kasa, which comes to be Kasa. B'Gematria Regel, they're going to give us that num. Now he did say simply that this is a reference to the fact that this is also a festival. But I'm thinking, what's pshat in regel? So he said, just by itself, Begematria Regel, the Av Bekasa, Hukaminian Regel. So those two together, those which would be the highest level of Yichud, in a Milui form, Av Kasa is Regel. So he said, V'yichud zeh chavaya the Av v'ekya de Kasa. Shemekuvana bebracha b'rishonach b'ola Kabinyan Regel. L'ramos ki Chanukah is a Yom Tov. V'chlal kol ha'mu'adim. So it has within it all of the festivals. V'nikra Regel Melashon Raglayim, and it's called a Regel, which is the concept of feet. He said, our legs, he said, are moving. And because of this, because of the fact that there's a remes here to the fact that it's a regel, which you don't see a reference like that. I guess he's saying with the concept of Rosh Chodesh. He says, let me see, what happened to Mash Ein came to Rosh Chodesh. That's what he says. Okay, and we are on number 9, Nun Hey. He says, Kanisker, B'ksivis Yad B'chakdamach Tikunim. Kanisker b'tikuni zover chadash, so it's over Chanukah b'chlal hamu'adim he. It's also incorporated in the holidays. Let's go on to the next one and see what it's talking about. Let me see how far this one goes. Not that far. So Amnam b'kuntris adam acher mitzasi. So apparently he found this somewhere else. So when you look at the first bracha, and incidentally, this is called O Kavana B'Birchus Adlakas Ner Chanukah. So this is another way of looking at the bracha. When you say those three words, your kavana should be Shazuha Avaya Ki Da'av, that when you say Baruch Atah Hashem, the kavana is that the Chavaya really is the Chavaya of Av of 72. But the Kavan L'Chaver Imo Gam Ekid Yudin, and the idea is that you should incorporate it with it or combine it with the Eki of the Yudin, Sheshnechem B'Gematria Regel. And they both come to that number that was 233. So this is the secret. Shetichla Regel Menashuk. Okay, I didn't make it up. So he says until that's the Regel, when it stops, it gives you an idea of how long the time in which we can light it. We'll see where he goes. Over Birchah also Nisim, when you come to that one, Yikavi ba'osach b'vacha the milu isag, v'yachaver imo shem elokim. It doesn't say shem elokim in the milu, it just says shem elokim. V'lechem gam b'chavaya the sag yikavin shuchu b'nikud elokim. So when you think of the chavaya the sag, you have to have the mind in mind of that chavaya itself, that it goes along with the nikudos. And we still don't have a really good understanding of what that means to borrow them in the kudos, because you see this in a lot of different places where there's a master pasuk, and he uses to try to explain in the Rishash in different places. He tries to explain what's going on in the lights. But then desag yikavein shuhu benikud elokem. So you should have in mind that that it's menukad with the same vowels as elokim. So when we get to Shehechayanu, so that's the Chavaya, the Shem Adni. Now, what goes on here? Let's see a little bit more in the Tiv on number Mem, what is that? Nun Vav. Nun Vav, here we are. Maybe Atacha B'Marach L'Zal, Mashrematza Od B'Kuntras Adam Acher, he found this in somebody else's notes. Yesh l'kavan that sheshlosha hayichudah shedis ba'aron le'el. So we have to have the kavanah on those three. V'nusha b'shlosha brachos shal adlokos ner Chanukah. Shebebech bracha b'shona shal lahadlik ner Chanukah. Ba'am bracha b'baruch atah, and then you get to the word Hashem. Yikavet b'Hashem b'chavavai b'milu yudin da'av kazeh, just like that. So we'll just make a little line under that. Right. And then he says, just a simple name, Akia, V'yudin Kazeh. Oh, excuse me, he said, no, I said it wrong. He sounded like that from the Rav. He says, Havaya de Milu Yudin, Shem Ekia the Yudin Kazeh. So then he shows that. So he said, B'shnechem b'gematria regel, and then the two of them together come a regel. Now I think it sounds a lot like the first one. B'shnechem chaynu av kaza ola geminion regel kanal. B'zerev sod ad shetechlo regel menashuk. Now, am I reading it the second time? It's the same thing again. Shemeirim ata b'ha'arash shnei shemos elu v'harosam gedolo ad ma'od, and the light that they give off is tremendously powerful. V'alkein I after the hamshichon zaman rav. So therefore, that because of the power of the light, you can't to keep it in that state, the state of its power. He says v'alkein. After it's impossible, the hamshich zaman rab, you can't extend the time for saying the bracha. Rakat shetechlo regel menashuk, only that amount of time. That's pshat, another pshat regel. But bracha shniya she'asa nisi yakavet b'chavayah the shem b'vayah the sag hazeh, and Rabbi Yechaver shem hasag im chavayah shem elokim pashut. So what he says you should join together the name sag, okay, with the Havaya, with just the name, it sounds like Havaya Shem Elokim, with a Havaya, I'm not sure what he means here, of the name of Elokim. He said, Ho'il u'mechaber im Havaya Shem Elokim. So he sounds like he's just not in a milu, it's just the name Elokim by itself. Yikaven lenake gam es Havaya b'nikud Elokim the haya chatav segel hoilum hirik. So it would look like this, it would be the same vocalization that you would have in the name Elokim. Now, what we get out of that, I'm not sure, but that's what he says. You do. This is the kavana for the second bracha. But bracha shehachayana, you get the third bracha. Yikavet b'chashem b'chavaya d'makazeh. So then you're going down the asam, you're going down the line, and he shows it to us here. And he says, b'bracha shehachayana yikavet rabbi'im b'chavaya d'ma. The simple name Adni, Nimsiki b'bekal bracha yesh b'chavavacha kavana cheres. So it comes out that the kavana is going to be slightly different in every one. Haina b'bracha b'shoni yekaven avkasa. The b'bracha shni yekaven sag elokem. With the sag, he says be menukad with an elokem. Not sure. Like I say, what does that do for it? It matches it up with the elokem. I understand. The b'bracha shlishi yekaven ma and Adni. So on the rest of the days, when we're not saying Shehachiyanu, I am besidder Rishah Shemei V'Chelakavan Gam Shem Ma V'Adne B'Bracha B'Shina V'Ashniya. And I guess that's it for today. Thank you very much.